always been an evil sorcerer hybrid.
Fine, but he's always been evil.
Yes, yes. And next up we have Snake in the Fixer-Upper, played by.
Ryanaga. Snake is a Yuan-Ti sorcerer of the Draconic Persuasion. Fixer-Upper is a half-orc war priest.
Indeed. Then we have Tristan, played by.
Will, and Tristan is a lovable kobold wizard, and is also of the divination type.
And then we have Melrath, played by.
Starmie827, and Malrath is a Dwarven Eldritch Knight.
Marvelous. And last and far from least, we have Bob, played by.
Barska, and Bob is a Tiefling Warlock.
Marvelous. So before we get started with today's adventure, I have to make the amendment to the vision that the party received for Akachi. The short of it is, the very simple version of it is, Akachi is trying to kill you because if he succeeds, you are one of 6 groups of adventurers he needs to murder in order for Merkel to be resurrected. How's that for you?
Who's Akachi?
The avatar of the death god Merkel, the
Undead
mummy
dude
that
we keep
has
running
attacked you guys twice now.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Merkel is just not a threatening name at all.
I know. Well, it was written in the 80s, so.
Also, keep in mind that even if a demon lord's name was Mr. Fluffy McSnugglebums, we'd be dead.
But we wouldn't be afraid.
Oh no, we'd be very afraid. Just also amused.
Yeah, you just have to learn what you need to be afraid of, Kyle.
Boy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back in my corner.
So let me just catch up in my notes to where we are. So last time we were in Graven Hollow, and you had gotten a bunch of visions, but the thing that's most going to impact this game is the fact that as part of those visions, you encountered an echo of the demon lord Grast, and he attempted to do his version of mind control. I think it was on Starmie. Melrath,
Yep.
I should say.
Yep, and he rolled like a god.
Yeah, he rolled a nat 20 on that save, which was very impressive, and actually the only thing that saved him. And for attempting to possess Melrath, the library reacted very violently and pushed him out. But now that he knows that the library exists, he is storming around trying to find it, which means that he's basically waiting right outside. So, in the course of the time that you've been there, he has, or you've come across Viserion, who is a drow sorcerer, or no, drow wizard, I should say. And he has come up with a plan to defeat the demon lords, but he's afraid of talking about it in Graven Hollow because with all these time echoes wandering around, he doesn't want Grass to find one of them of you guys talking. So he is preparing to teleport the entire party to Viserion's tower, which is actually, I think, exactly where I left off last time, because I showed you
I
a
believe so.
picture.
Yeah.
This one.
Ah,
Is this familiar?
yes.
Okay. So then I'll skip ahead. He had created a teleportation circle. You all stepped into it. We are here now.
And we made sure we were bringing everyone.
Yes. And I'm trying to figure out which of these is most relevant. Okay, so you guys appear, a good 45 feet away from the tower. However, even though it is a rather large stalagmite, there really isn't enough room for the entire war party to enter. So as a result, the party's going to go ahead and parlay with him since they've already been talking to him, and everybody else is going to wait literally on the wizard's doorstep. So you all walk up that set of stairs leading up to the entrance, and past the heavy iron door that is this tower's only visible entrance, a short tunnel extends through 5 feet of solid rock into a cool, dark chamber. As you enter, a floating orb of pale light pale violet light brightens before you, revealing an opening in the vaulted ceiling and a spiral stone staircase with no railing climbing up into the darkness. Around the stairs, the light reveals a circular audience chamber with cold, unlit lanterns hanging from brackets set into the stone wall. Heavy carpets covering the smooth stone floor, and a throne-like stone chair on a raised dais um, to the left of the entrance. The ball of violet light floats to a stop beneath the center of the open shaft beyond the foot of the stairs, and it hovers there as if waiting for you.
Impressive.
Indeed. What will you do?
I mean, the wizard's there with us, right?
No, he is not present.
Wait, he teleported us, but oh, I guess he went in before us.
He may have teleported himself to a different section of this tower, but regardless, he wasn't with you when you teleported in.
This is awkward. I rather thought he would be coming with us.
Dibs on his books if he didn't make it?
Well, fat lot of that's going to do.
Oh yeah, we're all dead if he's not here, but
Yeah,
figured I'd say it.
Perhaps you should explore the rest of the tower.
I mean, yes, but okay. And you said there was a thing floating in front of us?
A ball of violet light floats to a stop beneath the center of an open shaft about a foot beyond the stairs. It hovers there as if waiting for you.
let's move on and interact with it.
All right, who's going
See
to
if
be
it-
the experimental person that interacts with the light?
Not it.
I'll give it a try.
Okay. Um. Hmm. Hmm. According to this, Tazarath steps uh, into the circular opening, and there's a hole in the ceiling. It's about the same size as the circular pad that he stepped onto. And as soon as he steps onto it and approaches the violet light, the pad lights up and he begins to float. And you now have the effect of levitation cast upon you. You can either ascend upwards or, float downwards if you like, but you can only move in vertical directions and not horizontal ones.
I rather like this. I'll cross my arms and just float upwards, looking sort of like a badass in the process.
Okay, you have a degree of control over the speed, um, but there are looking up, you can see there are a total of 6 floors way up above you. And floating up will allow you to see each of those floors in turn. So give me a moment while I make sure that there's no descriptions that I'm bypassing. That's weird. Consign, da 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 da. Hmm. Okay. Um, you float upwards. Level 2 contains kitchens, storage, and it looks like servants' quarters, but all the doors are open and there's a layer of dust about the area, so you think that the servants' quarters have been unused for a while. Um, you get up to level 3 and you're a little confused. The sort of left half, the left 180 degrees of the stalagmite houses guest bed chambers. There's about 3 of them over there, and they seem quite nicely made up. The right half of the 180 degrees is a torture chamber. There's like one of those stretching the rack, that torture device. There's a number of very wicked looking implements which are still covered in gore. Um, so that's disturbing. Not exactly the thing that I would put next to my guest bed chambers, but Maybe
Well,
it's a drow thing.
You want to keep them well behaved, of course.
I suppose so. Level 4 contains Viserian's library and laboratory. Once again, they split it in half by 180 degrees. Level 5 seems to contain the Archmage's private chambers. For this one, it is, I want to say 270 degrees of the tower is his private chambers. The remaining 110 degrees is the chambers of someone else who is not as wealthy or as powerful, it seems. And then way up at the top is a study room, and Viserion is up there, um, scurrying about with a number of different scrolls and whatnot. He's trying to prepare his materials, and he notices you float up, and he says, "About time it took you to get here. There's only two directions to go, up and up. Please step out of the passage and have a seat."
Certainly. Do you want me to get my companions?
Yeah, just shout down the hole. I'm sure they'll hear you.
I do so.
Now that everyone understands what the levitation tunnel is about, you all float on up. When you make it all the way up, please settle into my study. As soon as you do, several floating trays of dried mushrooms and smoked roth meat and goblets of spicy liquor appear. They're just floating there in air, carried about as if by unseen servants. Um, the as soon as they come in, Viserion is first to take a drink and eat some of the food. He looks like he's really quite missed it, and yeah, he makes a point of eating everything before anyone else has a chance to, and scarfing it down. So if you guys care to partake, let me know.
Sounds good.
And
Nice.
Tristan's gonna eat some.
Okay.
I certainly wouldn't mind.
So you all take a yes, yes. By all means, brought it for you. So you all take a bite. The mushrooms are probably the least savory thing, but the smoked roth meat is actually quite good. And the spicy liquor.
I'm sorry. Did you say a smoked ront meat?
Ha ha. Roth meat.
Okay,
Yes.
continue.
Yes. So after you've had a moment to eat, Viserion leans forward in a very big, very overstuffed armchair. Yeah, armchair. And he has a grave look on his face. The only one of my kind who could ever match me in the art is Grumph Bainry. I think we knew from the moment that we met that we were destined to be rivals. But where I sought only to master the art, Grumph was also an astute political manipulator. No more devout than I in his service of the Spider Queen, he arranged for my disgrace and exile. Deprived of my considerable skills, my house fell to our rival, House Do'Urden. Grumph became Archmage of Menzoberranzan under the auspices of his own house, the first house of the ruling council. Grumph and I only ever had two things in common: our passion for the art and our hatred of the manner in which our fellow mages suffer at the hands of the matron mothers and mistresses of the drow. Grumph has always hungered for power, and not even becoming Archmage of Menzoberranzan was enough to satisfy him. From this tower of exile I have kept a watch on Grumph's activities. This was no easy task given his suspicious and circumspect nature. Nonetheless, my observations revealed that he was crafting a unique ritual, one that drew on the energy of the Faerzrist to channel incalculable arcane power. When Grumph performed this ritual, the walls between planes shuddered, and then, as you have by now realized, the demon lords were wrenched from their layers of the abyss and cast about here in the Underdark. What we have all witnessed in Graven Hollow confirms this. Um, and so, before I continue, just in case I failed to mention anything, do you have any questions about what he has said so far? You can ask him directly or ask me, the DM.
So, this is asking him directly. Were you aware that what was the original intent for his ritual? Because it looked like Loth, when we saw him doing his ritual in the past, kind of fucked it up.
Hold on a second. Okay. I'm trying. There's a bullet pointed list of what he knows, and I'm trying to skim that for the information. So please bear with me. Ah. Okay. Uh, well, the intended purpose of Grom's ritual is frankly unclear. Um, I'm not really certain what it was supposed to do, and he becomes very cagey upon you asking him that.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Um, the entire thing or the last part?
The last part.
He becomes very cagey. Um, his eyes start shifting. He suddenly becomes very tight-lipped.
Insight check.
Yep. That's a 22.
All right. When he becomes cagey, you really get the impression, if you the players haven't figured it out by now, that he has a bit of an ego problem. And so when he starts to get cagey and kind of shut down with information, Tazareth plays to his ego. Well, surely, with your arch rival and how much you know about him, you must have a sense of what he could have been trying to accomplish. And it works. He continues. Well, yes, it's true the purpose of the ritual is unclear, but I think that he meant to summon and bind one specific demon lord. The problem is, I find it very difficult to believe that even Gromp could be so arrogant as to think he could bind all of the demon lords at once. And the difference between summoning one and summoning all of them is many times exponential to what it looked like the ritual intended to do. And thus I am uncertain as to its purpose.
Well, obviously, if you had done it, which you wouldn't have because you were smarter than him, it would have worked. But that's what happens when dumbasses work with things that they cannot understand.
Indeed. I suspect he may even be a pawn of the Spider Queen himself, although exactly what the game is, I am uncertain.
Well, wherever he is, because he's not anywhere we can view him right now, it's not good.
Indeed.
He's the one that saw us spying on him and chased us out of the library, right?
No, this is the Archmage of the Drow, the guy who started this entire mess. The other one was a friggin' demon.
And actually, just to help you out, Kyle, if you bear with me for just a second, I have... Is it this one? So here is one portrait of the person you're talking to. This is Viserion.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another portrait of Viserion. So this is what the individual you're you're talking to looks like.
Right. I'm trying to distinguish Gronth between the guy who tried to attack us in the library and got kicked out.
I understand.
That's
I wanted you to see one set of pictures at a time. This is
Okay.
Grast.
That's who it was, Grast.
And
he's a demon?
he is a demon lord.
Jesus.
Dark Prince, blah 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 blah. He's on some specific layer of the abyss, a place called the Argent Palace. And Grast's dominion is over. I know the artwork may not convey it, but he's supposed to be an exceedingly attractive demon lord. So he tends to control people through lust and sexual perversion and yada yada yada.
I'd hit it.
Grass can also transform himself as will, appearing in any humanoid form that pleases him or his onlookers, all equally tempting in their own ways.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, here's another Snippet. His lair and those of his cultists are pleasure palaces where nothing is forbidden save moderation or kindness.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so got that all set up. So right. Did you have other questions?
Nope. Just can't remember from week to week.
I can't blame you. Does anybody else have other questions before I proceed?
Nope.
Okay.
Good.
Um. Discussion. Back to Nope. I already said that. Here's what I'm looking for. So I take it then that we are all in agreement that all of the demon lords must be stopped. Yes?
Yes.
I live for this.
He grins a little bit despite himself. Demons are creatures ruled by madness and hatred, and even the greatest and most powerful of them. They war ceaselessly upon each other in the abyss and have already begun to do so here. We can play them against each other and then
Mhm.
deal with the weakened victors. I believe
Right.
I have the ability to devise and cast a ritual similar to Gromp's, but nowhere near as dangerous or stupid. That will draw the most powerful demon lords together on the site of the original summoning. Once they are brought together, they will try to destroy each other. But though demon lords might destroy each other's physical manifestations here in our world, their essences cannot be extinguished, and thus, once they are not more but essence, they will be drawn back to the abyss as effectively as if they had been banished. The ritual needs certain components to produce the talisman that will draw the demons, and then a rite and to empower and activate it. Then blood and battle such as this world has never seen. Any survivors among the demon lords will be sorely weakened and should be far easier to destroy. All I need are the necessary ingredients, and ideally to look at Gromp's grimoires for notes from his sanctum, where the Drow Arch. What the hell? That doesn't make any sense. The Drow Archmage watches you, and a thin smile curls from the corner of his mouth. What do you say to my plan? Are you willing? Do you have
To raid,
questions?
Menzo Baranzan, and draw all the demon lords there into an orgy of destruction. I'm not going to lie. I'm in a bit of a happy place at the.
That's the spirit. What say the rest of you?
Does anyone else think it sounds kind of dangerous?
That
Well,
is
yeah,
why.
instead of living after demon lords have taken over the world, so I much prefer dying in battle, valiantly hiding behind one of you, than being a slave to them for the rest of my eternity.
Oh my god. What I meant was this guy Viserion seems like he's like a little bit crazy too.
Well,
Well,
yes, you can't become a powerful archmage without being crazy. It's kind of part of the deal.
but he is open to having questions asked. So, if you have something you need to ask him that would help clarify what need be done.
Hmm.
So, what kind of items do we need? Like, are we talking about like the heart of a elder dragon, the eye
Oh.
of the most powerful beholder, or are we
Oh, oh,
talking
oh.
about like bunny ears?
Here's what I'm going to do. It would be helpful to me if you guys go to notes, create a new note that you can call ingredients, and I'm going to read through them and I'll give you time to write. Okay?
Where's notes?
It should be on the right hand column. My view is different from your view because I'm running the game.
I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, I can see Chris has got it. Let me know when you're ready. You can put in whatever notes you want beforehand about what that note is about.
How do I spell Viserion?
Vizeran.
Okay.
As I said, this ritual is powered by a unique talisman that I call the Dark Heart. The talisman requires a number of unique components to assemble. First, an intact and unhatched egg of a purple worm for channeling great physical power.
All right.
The central eye of a beholder to break down magical resistance and overcome magical forces.
Yeah, that won't be hard.
I was joking. Wait, we know where a central eye of a beholder is of a very, very lame beholder.
We do.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, the problem is that you don't actually know where this Tower of Vengeance is in relation to where you were.
Hmm.
You know where there was a beholder recently? Well, actually, as in recently within like the past week and a half or so. That's how long it took you to get all the visions you needed from the Graven Hollow.
I picked up scrying. We'll find the sucker sooner or later.
Oh wait, you don't happen to mean the still living one that's in Mantle Dareth?
That one who.
What? Could you repeat that?
Yeah, the one in Mental Death who has only like half his eye stalks.
Yeah, you just need the central eye.
Exactly. I meant
Yeah.
him.
Oh,
And
okay, marvelous.
Since he has fewer eye stalks, he'll be an easier target.
Yes, that's very true. Then you will need 6 feathers from 6 different angels, the authority of the celestial realms, and a force to enrage fiendish creatures.
You know, I suppose it could be satisfying to go after those goodies, but it would be quicker to try and convince them. Bugger.
Does that mean that you got it on the ingredient list? I don't want to like launch
Yeah,
into
it's on
the
the
next
list.
thing. Okay. Then you will need the heart of a Goristro to reach and influence the hearts of other demons. Um,
How the heck do I spell that?
Actually, I'll just spell it for you. Yeah, try pronouncing it.
I was one letter off. How did I manage that?
I don't know. Very well done, though. Then we will need 13 tin masks, also known as devil's mushrooms, sprouted from the footprint of a Merilith, a Baelor, or a Goristro, to lure and draw demons in.
Sorry, say the second part again?
Sprouted from the footprint of a Merilith, a Baelor, or a Goristro to lure, uh, as a lure to draw demons in.
Alright.
A few drops of blood or ichor from a demon lord to connect the demons to the ritual will call.
Alright.
Gromf Bainry's grimoires and notes on his ritual to assist in better understanding the power that summoned the demon lords. And that completes the list.
Now, this is a tall order.
It is indeed. However, part of the work that I have done in visiting the library was not simply to determine how this could all be done, but to make sure I had a plan. After all, angel feathers don't rain from the sky willy-nilly. I have located where we can source these materials from, potentially, assuming that everything works out as intended. The purple worm egg and the eye of the beholder can both be found in the worm writhings. Should also be noted.
I will note that down.
So he is not a librarian? I thought he was.
No, he is a person from outside the library. The librarians are all stone giants. He is a dark elf.
Gotcha.
Yep. Um,
Can
the
I roll
angel.
history to see?
Hmm?
Can I roll history to see what I know about the worm writhings?
Oh, you can ask him a little bit about it. I just want to give you all the locations first, and then I'll open it back up to questions.
Oh, okay.
The angel feathers and demon heart can be claimed in the labyrinth.
That sounds fun.
Indeed. Especially fun to represent in an imaginary world where we have no map. Um,
We could probably get the devil mushrooms from the footprints of the Garistro that we slay in the labyrinth too.
Potentially, yes. The grimoire is found in Menzo Berenzon, of course.
Of course.
And then being able to acquire the tin mask mushrooms and blood from a demon lord depends on your resourcefulness and other opportunities as they may present themselves.
You know, it's interesting you should say that. We mentioned that Grazd was sort of pacing around the outside of the library looking for us. I'm not sure if he would be the best target or someone else, but
Yes,
Yeah,
and
does
we
he have? Could he rank like who he thinks are the most difficult or the easiest or whatever?
sure, I could take a look into that. Give me a moment. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, but he said that would qualify. No,
Demogorgon.
that one's okay. And okay, I think I have a full sense of all of the demon lords.
Cool.
Let me just make sure. I'm gonna grab the lowest tier of demon lords. I just want to make sure I have this right. Okay. 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 The lowest tier of demon lords. There are 3 of them. The first one, because these are, I think, all in alphabetical order, is Baphomet. Baphomet is the Horned King and the Prince of Beasts. He rules over minotaurs and others with savage hearts. He is worshipped by those who break the confines of civility and unleash their bestial natures. For Baphomet envisions a world without restraint where creatures live out their most savage desires. Then there is a demon that you are familiar with, Fraz Urblu. He is the prince of deception and the demon lord of illusions. He uses every trick, every ounce of demonic cunning to manipulate his enemies, mortal and fiend alike, to do his will. He can create dreamlands and mind-bending fantasies, able to deceive the most discerning foes. Fraz Urblu was the demon in the gem that you banished back to the abyss already, so he's probably not a viable target. The last demon lord that occupies this lowest tier of demon lorddom is Jubilex, the faceless lord and the oozing hunger, who you are also already familiar with. Those 3 would be the easiest pickings among the demon lords. The next rank up would include Grass, who of course we're just talking about. Yinogu. Yinogu is the beast of butchery. It appears as a great battle-scarred knoll towering 14 feet tall. And actually, let me find my chapters here for a second. I just realized I have pictures of all these dudes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay, this is Baphomet. Everyone say hi to Baphomet. Horned King. I know, right? He's super adorable. So that's Baphomet. And then this is good old Fraz Urblu.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Fraz Urblu. And then Grass, Jubilex, I think you've seen a picture of, but just in case, I'll, pull his ass out. There we go. That's Jubilex.
Yeah, really.
I mean, honestly, he'd be probably the easiest to get it from because he's dripping all over the place anyway.
Exactly. And ichor counts.
Wouldn't there be like an altar or something that we might have passed already that might have some residue?
You usually use other blood to summon demon lords. Getting it from demon lords themselves is usually a pretty hazardous thing.
Yeah.
Yinogu, let's see. This is that demon lord of Knowles that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Trusted image, blah blah blah.
It's quite the flail.
That's what she said.
He transforms hyenas into gnolls, and then butchers anything that he comes across. Frankly, while he is dangerous, I think his power is kind of lame. Like, the Prince of Deception and Demon Lord of Illusions is like far better than I make hyenas into gnolls.
Yeah. There's something to be said about demon lords that are easy to kill, and I just think of like the illusion guy being really annoying. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Such and dangerous, yeah.
the last one is Zugtamoy. She's on the
Whoa.
lowest tier. That's what Zugtamoy looks like, by the way.
cool.
Yeah.
That is spaced out.
Psychedelic like the mushrooms you ate.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Bob, but I'm pretty terrified of spiders, so
So right. So those are the demon lords that you could get it from. Chris brings up a really excellent point about Jubilex. He kind of drips all over the place. And you know a place where he has sort of had influence. Now, he obviously wasn't there, or you probably couldn't have missed the massive ooze. But,
Yeah, that's a good point. I really want to kill one of these though. I don't want to just get the cheesy way in.
oh, you're gonna kill one. At
we
least
can
one.
do both.
I mean, eventually we're gonna kill them all, but
Well, there's an extent.
Not head on, I don't think.
There's an extent to which the demon lords are mostly going to kill each other, and
Right,
then
right.
there's
Yeah.
some fighting that you will do independently of that.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
going to kill Demogorgon ourselves, unfortunately.
No. But
we could.
if he's down a quarter hit points, it might work out.
There you go.
Come charging in at the last minute, like
We'll get the
cat.
last hit, get all the credit. I like it.
Yeah, when you kill Demogorgon, he just explodes into a pile of gold coins, and
Yeah.
to adequately reward you for your bravery, as it were.
Dozens of magic items pop out. Oh, we got them all.
Oh, it's just like the end of Diablo. Ting, ting,
Exactly.
ting, ting, ting. Anyways.
Animation. Ah.
Maybe he has lightning breath. We'll find out. So where was I? I covered all that stuff. So that. Right. Questions. Ask anything that you want. I know what he knows, and yada yada yada.
So are we
There's
going
a teeny bit more to this after you ask your questions, just so you know.
So getting back here, that would require more teleportation circles, I would imagine.
No, I have disguised the location of my home, and frankly, I teleported you here so that if you said no, you wouldn't necessarily know how to find it again. But now that I know you're willing to work with me, and that we clearly have a greater enemy, I will trust that that is sufficient motivation to prevent you from doing me harm or changing sides. Especially since I am the only person that can construct the Dark Heart.
Tazarath is heavily insulted at the thought of switching sides to the demons.
Well, just switching sides to one that Viserion is not on, I think was his implication.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still insulted.
Yes. So, questions. Because you had said, like, what is the worm writhings? Questions like that.
Oh, the labyrinth.
Yes, give me just a moment. I'm going to flip ahead a little bit in chapters because there's a description at the beginning of each of these. I just want to skim this so that I know what I'm talking about here. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I think I found the section that I need. Long ago, the labyrinth was much like any other part of the Underdark. consisting largely of natural caverns connected by tunnels and underground rivers. The discovery of precious metals and gemstones led dwarves and others to excavate, extending its tunnels and expanding its caves. The results of those efforts saw an insignificant corner of the Underdark transformed into a vast, sprawling network of passages. Abandoned settlements within the labyrinth are common, marked out by rusting iron rails, scattered ore carts, dark mine shafts descending into unknown depths, while tunnels stretch off in random directions. Rifts, both small and large, appear throughout, and many a tunnel ends abruptly at a rift, as if the way was simply sheared off to leave a vast, yawning chasm. Some of these rifts run to depths of a few hundred feet. Others ascend and descend for miles. Many of the rifts show their age and by the presence of carved switchback staircases along their walls or weathered bridges spanning their gaps. So it's basically sort of a eco biome, essentially, of the Underdark.
Mhm.
What else?
What are the worm writhings?
Let's see here. I think this is the part I need. The worm writhings are a honeycomb of tunnels spanning hundreds of miles in the northern reaches of the Underdark, carved from the rock by enormous purple worms. A purple worm nest in the worm writhings is an ideal place to find an unhatched purple worm egg, in fact. Viserion also comments that he has heard rumors of beholders living in a specific section of the worm writhing. Additionally, one of the things that's really noteworthy about the worm writhings is that when it comes to purple worms, um, nobody is entirely certain why, but they seem to prefer to go wherever the hell it is that they want to go. And so what will happen is, a worm is moving along through the Underdark and it just shears out the rock in the shape of its body, and that's this giant tunnel that you'll be moving through. The tunnel will twist and turn however it was that the purple worm decided to twist and turn based on whatever motivates these things. And actually, let me also just I want to pull up something here. Images, try size. That's a pain in the ass. Introduction. There's a particular piece of artwork that I really wanted to show you. Let me try one more thing. I found it. This might not be from 5e, but I'm going to paste something in the Discord chat for a moment. This is a size chart. This is intended to help players understand the difference between a tiny, small, medium, large, and gargantuan creature. That gargantuan creature is a purple worm,
Mhm.
and that's a portion of it.
So it eats mediums.
It eats huge as well, like whole. These creatures are absolutely massive. Anyways, so that is what a purple worm looks like. It digs these massive tunnels, and in fact, I think I also have a picture of the tunnels. Let me see here. Monsters? No. NPC artwork? Nope. Portraits other. Wait a minute. Wait. I know where to find it. Chapter 13. Portrait. Here we go. This is an example of a purple worm tunnel. Anyways, all I was going to say about this is that once a purple worm has dug a tunnel, the only time that it ever interacts with that tunnel again is if it happens to be digging in some other random direction and digs through a tunnel it previously created. So once these things are carved, a lot of creatures actually feel pretty good about just wandering through them, because as long as they don't catch the attention of a purple worm going in another direction, they're never going to backtrack through a tunnel.
Okay.
Because
So it's safer than it's in some ways.
in a lot of ways. And in fact, to that exact same end, there are plenty of other things, reasons to sort of pass through the worm writhings. Obviously, the purple worm eggs are the biggest one because this is the only place that they can really be reliably found in the Underdark, and they have a lot of magical component usage above and beyond the Dark Heart. So there are a decent number of drow or dark dwarves or whatever else wandering around through that area. And sometimes, there are other creatures that will make a lair out of a segment of a tunnel. So, right. So that's the worm writhings. Any other questions?
How exactly are we going to get to Menzoberranzan? Were you planning to walk us there? Do we need to infiltrate, and how?
Okay, hold on just a second. Here's I just need to read through this to make sure I say the right thing. hmm Okay. I have a very special and secret way into Menzoberranzan, and it will be very necessary for you to use it to get into the city. I have an apprentice, and he snaps his fingers, and a dark elf head pops up where the staircase is, and peers into the room with kind of narrowed, suspicious eyes. This is Grin Occital. God, these names. He is my apprentice. I have been training him for a good half century. Now, using this special passage as a way to teach, we have been using stone shaping spells over a vast period of time, and we have created a unique passage which can only be accessed in two places, here and in Menzoberranzan at the bottom of the West Rift. The trip will take you a solid 12 days on foot, but it has no other interaction with other passages or tunnels. There is no way that any creature could get to it without drilling through dozens of foot of solid rock. It is the safest way for us to get in there, and then once you're there, I'll need you to return with the grimoire. Now, as far as my plan goes, I suggest that we obtain everything else we need. Now, no one has seen Grumph since the incident occurred, and so I do not know if he is simply obscured from my scrying magics because he wishes to be, or because he is somewhere other than Menzoberranzan, and I cannot locate him. So as a result, if we wait until the last moment to gather his notes, that will give our chance the least opportunity to fail. Should you get caught in Menzoberranzan and be up against an entire city of deep elves, you'll be in a sticky situation. But I will still have the means and to assemble the Dark Heart and still carry off the ritual in a deep elf city where I will not stand out, especially from anyone else.
Well,
Uh,
that solves how we're getting in and out of there, but
and indeed, it should be the last thing we do, I insist.
Mhm.
well, so what does everyone think? Where should we go first?
Actually, along those very same lines, I would advise the worm writhings. There's two components that you can get right there together, and I
The
think that
beholders are in that area, you meant?
yes, there
Yeah.
is. Well, no, the purple worm is there, but there is also another region of the worm writhings. Give me a second, I have to find. It's called the Vast Oblivium. And I will write down directions and give them to you. Once you are able to locate it, it should be about, he checks his notes, 12 miles from the Purple Worm Nursery, which I
Mhm.
also have directions for, and he holds up a scroll. Um, Once you arrive, you will simply have to draw out the beholder and combat it. That should actually, in its own way, be more straightforward than you would suspect.
Well, yeah, since we already killed a really hard one.
I'm sorry, you killed a beholder?
Yeah,
Yes.
didn't we?
No, I'm
What
sorry.
was
I'm
his
I'm
name?
speaking as Viserion.
Yeah, no.
Yes,
What was his
yes.
name again?
Yeah, what was his name? I don't remember.
Oh,
Zazix or something.
Zazix. Yes, it was Zazix. Uh,
Yeah, we pulled a sword out of his ass.
oh, Flame Tongue. That's right. You still have it too. We pulled this sword out of his ass.
There you go.
He cringes visibly and um, looks at the sword with disgust. Well, I certainly hope you wiped it off before pulling it out of your pack.
Well, I mean, it's been ignited a couple times since then. I would imagine that would sterilize it.
Even so, and you hear him mutter under his breath about unclean surfacers. Um, so, anyways, I would advise the worm writhings as the most likely location to find two components. What say you?
I said, let's do it.
Seems
Makes sense to
straightforward.
me.
Very good. Um, I'm just looking for something about distance. I know they mention it somewhere. Mm, okay, I think I've got what I need. Okay, so the worm writhings are approximately, he checks his notes once more, 48 miles from here. Now, I am not 100% sure where the Purple Worm Nursery is, but the notes that I give you, and he hands you a scroll, um, will give you information about the environment that will lead you to the nursery. Um, there will be particular changes in rock, and purple worms mark their territory in a certain way, which is different from when they're simply drilling through the earth. So, um, I
Could I roll nature on purple worms for a second?
possibly. I don't want to be picky, but I do want to check and make sure that I understand what purple worms qualify as, just to make sure that that's the right roll. Reference, nope, not reference NPCs. Challenge rating. Purple. Okay. Yeah, actually, I guess you can use Arcana or whatchamacallit, Nature. Either one is fine, whichever is better.
0 either way. So,
I'm using Arcana and
I think Tristan won.
yeah.
wow.
Jesus.
Oh
So
my.
the reason I'm wondering about this is we've got quite a large party, and I don't remember if it was purple worms or something else that detects through vibrations. Would
Well, you recall the information about purple worms. Purple worms are known to have, they don't actually have eyes. They have a blind sight out a certain distance, and beyond that, they have tremor sense, which is exactly what you said. They can sense vibrations in the earth. Now, one thing that I've never been clear on is I would think that the tunneling of a massive worm would create a fuck ton of vibrations. So how it can distinguish its own movements through the earth from anything else is a mystery to me, but that answers your question.
All right. Well, we have rather a large party of, rather a large war band along with us, and I'm worried that that would attract more worms.
Good point. Give me a second. Let me read this little snippet from the monster manual. Loud noise attracts purple worms, which have been known to interrupt underground battles and tear through subterranean cities seeking prey. The underground civilizations of Drow, Daragar, and Mind Flayers maintain special wards around their settlements meant to deter these monsters. Though most common in the Underdark, purple worms are also frequently seen on the surface world in rocky and mountainous lands. Um, the maw of a purple worm is large enough to swallow a horse whole with room to spare, and no creature is safe from its hunger. It lunges forward by rhythmically compressing and expanding its body, catching other Underdark dwellers by surprise, given the explosive speed of its advance. So, it seems that that is a very fair fear to have. Healthy fear.
So what are we going to do with the warband while we're doing that? Do
We kill them,
want-
obviously.
Viserion sort of curls his upper lip. Well, they certainly can't stay in my tower. If they wish to stay on my doorstep, as long as they're quiet guests, I suppose I could put up with it.
I'm okay with telling him to stay here.
Oh, there's one last thing that's probably relevant as far as purple worms go. Purple worms, this isn't widely known, but given Tristan's very excellent role, he recalls that purple worms are also known to have a tail stinger. Generally speaking, since purple worms are always lunging at their prey, it doesn't really come into play very often, but purple worms are capable of burrowing from either end. And so the tail stinger can be looped around, erupting from Earth to surprise unwary foes.
Wow.
Yeah. They're poisonous, as if purple worms were not dangerous enough to begin with.
Duly noted.
So, anyways, are we about all set with our questions?
I think so.
Okay. Although I am loath to give up additional resources, the threat that the Demon Lords represent means that I am going to sweeten the deal. Obviously, I have a vested interest in your success. You have greater numbers and sufficient power level of your own that this challenge may prove doable. I am going to offer every single party member a Piwafwi.
A what?
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Give me a second. I was just looking up it. A Piwafwi. Yeah, here I'm gonna type it too so that you can see. Is there an extra W? FWI. There we go.
Is that
Bless
like
you.
another word for a joint?
No, actually. Although that might be a decent name for a joint. Is it under?
I thought you just mispronounced party.
Nope. This is what it looks like.
Nice.
So
And they
this,
couldn't have just named it a fucking cloak?
it is a very special cloak of elven kind. These are native to the Underdark. It is a dark spider silk cloak made by the Drow. Oh wow. It is literally a cloak of elven kind with absolutely no need for its own entry. 1 second. I actually thought that that entry was going to be relevant.
Someone who works in D&D just really likes coming up with incredibly difficult to pronounce names and spell names. You know, they just love it.
I know who that was. A lot of
okay.
these names are a result of oh, give me a second. What's his name? What's his name? R.A. Salvatore. This guy, this fucking guy, has been writing books about the Underdark since 1990. If you just do Drist books in Google, you can see that he is still writing them up into this year, and he's got like a decent list. And so they gave him broad sort of rights to talk about specific parts of the Underdark, to give things names, to do things like in Elvish language, and he has taken it to the nth degree. And so, yeah, this guy is the reason that I have to say all these ridiculous things. Um, so yeah. Incidentally, and this is extremely important, Ice Cube has read an audiobook of one of the Drist books, and it is available on Audible. And if you think it is funny to hear me trying to pronounce these things, you should hear Ice Cube do it. I listened to the entire book because he read it. And, hold on a second. Ice Cube reads Drist.
Do they do like several takes, or is it like
Oh no.
him
No.
stumbling and?
Oh, and I found it. I found the actual link to the video. So I'm just going to grab this and pause it before I get content ID matched. And then I'm going to paste that right here. If you care to, he read a short story by Ice-T for an app.
Ice-T, not Ice Cube.
Okay.
I apologize. I got the wrong ice. There's also a thing where I think it's in this one. Oh. Okay, so I'm just going to read this real briefly. So figuring he'd just turned up to read a book, he was as confused and surprised as anyone that he had to read this. So here's some of his recollection from the 2 days he spent in the recording booth. Quote, "Son, it took me 3.5 hours to read 25 pages. And motherfuckers talk like Yoda. This shit is impossible to me. Pegasus, Pegasi, that's horses with wings. This shit is crazy. This motherfucker got a sword that talks to him and shit. Motherfuckers live in places that do not exist." Let me read some porno or something. I know about that. And in the very off chance that none of you believe me, because this is a snippet from a podcast that he does.
I'm reading the article about it right now.
Oh, from Kotaku? That's where I grabbed that
The
from.
BuzzFeed one. But
Wait.
it exists.
Why does it say accidentally?
Yeah, he didn't know. They didn't tell him what he was showing up to read for.
But that's not an accident.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
so he had agreed to do it already, and so he just had to.
That's hilarious.
It was really funny, and I have it on my phone. I have an Audible account just so I could listen to this, and then I started listening to it for other things. But
Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
especially since I linked the YouTube video, so
Yeah.
it's real good. It's real good. Anyways, I'm sorry. That just is a hilarious aside that I could not help myself. So
I like though and how he broke down the experience of it. He still promoted the book where he says like, considering the way music is right now, you're better off listening to a book. It's more entertaining, honestly. So good for him. He still promoted it.
he is a professional to the core.
Absolutely.
Anyways, so yeah, setting all of that aside, the Cloak of Elvenkind, this is what I was trying to pull up this whole fucking time. When you wear this cloak with its hood up, wisdom and perception checks that you make that are made to see you have disadvantage. You also have the advantage on stealth checks meant to hide. And so the cloak's color shifts to camouflage you. And then pulling the hood up or down requires an action. It does require attunement. So if you're close to your attunement level, you might not want to do that. Although you can also choose to cease attuning to an object, so it's not like, once you choose your 3, you're set forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can change it every time you rest, but that's one of the things he offers. Each character will also be provided with an amulet that can be used one time as a scroll of protection from fiends. Now, the amulet will be consumed in the process of this because it's supposed to be like a scroll. If you are already wearing an amulet, like Scarab of Protection or something like that, you can still wear this one-time use thing because it doesn't require attunement. It's a consumable item. So you can wear this with another amulet is what I'm trying to get across. Additionally, I will offer the use of a Raj as safe haven. My what did they call it? Tower of Vengeance. Oh, and he already offered the plan, so um, ah, wow. Okay. Um, and also, of course, I'm an archmage, so any other magical resources are at your disposal as well.
Did you fix my golem?
You have a golem? Where is it?
Points to the guardian.
Oh, well, it
It's
would not
outside.
have followed you in here.
Levitating
Points
guardian.
out the window to the guardian.
There we go. He peers out the window and kind of squints. Oh, I thought that was an exceptionally ugly guard. I'll take a look at it. I certainly have the materials here to repair such a creature. What's wrong with it?
He got into a fist fight with an ooze. The ooze didn't win, but it left a mark.
Uh, isn't isn't that a shield golem?
Yes.
Doesn't that mean someone in the party told it to attack the slime?
No comment.
He
like the ball buster.
leans over to Fixer Upper and very quietly whispers, I'll also allow the use of flogging equipment should you care to rectify that mistake.
Thanks for the offer.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Very well, you have things to do. Be gone. Anyways, does anybody actually want a Puafwi?
I'll actually take it. It's
Yeah. I want a fucking Puafwi. I'm gonna wear that shit out.
There you go.
No, I don't want a cloak of Elvenkind. I want a Puafwi.
Oh. Actually, I'm not sure what happens if I just give you the entry. I'm kind of scared now. I'm gonna check.
I'm gonna rename it in my inventory.
Oh, you don't have to. I might be able to give you the right thing. What are they? This is the plan. Where? These motherfuckers never label anything properly. I think it might be under scheme.
Plus, I don't have anything except.
Oh, I found it. I found it. And yes, I have the proper entry. Never disregard the thing in chat. There's the Puafwi.
Yay!
Also,
Yay.
here's the Amulet of Protection versus Fiends. Everybody should put that in their inventory because there's such a low bar to using it. The Puafwi is optional. One of the other things that's really worthwhile in pointing out with this is that with some DMs, they can be a bit persnickety about hide attempts. And the reason being that logically, if you're wearing full plate armor and you simply
Right.
are standing in the shadows and moving around in them, you still clank like a kitchen being rattled about. So when it comes to the Puafri, what I'm going to say is that because it's magical drow nonsense, it simply negates any disadvantage from your armor. So once you sort of wrapped it around you, it will sort of muffle the noise a little bit. So all it will do is if you have armor that implies a disadvantage, it negates it. So you just make a normal stealth roll instead of a stealth roll at advantage or disadvantage. Does that make sense?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think that's fair.
That is perfectly fair. I'm just trying to figure out if I should use, if I should take off the Ring of Free Action or go back to using my greatsword or.
Well, that's up to you, and you have some time to figure it out. So when you're ready, he is going to teleport you close to the warm writhings. If you would prefer to do that rather than march through the Underdark without your warband.
Yes, I would prefer that.
I would, before we leave though, I would like to grab every single map possible from that cartographer guy, just so in case we get teleported somewhere, we know how to get back here.
Oh, okay.
I'll also point out I've got the what do I have it? The ring that points to Graven Hollow.
Oh,
I'd
so you
like
can
to.
find your way back to that. Wait, who are you
uh,
pointing it out to?
you as the DM.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like you're gonna show Viseria in your ring or something. Okay, so there we go. When you guys go
Didn't you
downstairs,
say? Sorry, one second. Didn't you say that one of the towns we went to is going kind of insane, like
things are not
cultist
looking
worship or something?
things are not looking great in Gracklestug,
Is that anywhere near the Worm Hollows?
the Worm Writhings. Actually, let me pull up my maps because I did have a map of the surface that or not the surface, but the Underdark that I shared with you at one point.
You had only like shown us part of it though.
Right, but I'm going to be able to illuminate more of it. Oh, this is portraits, not maps. Maps. Hookhor, Mantle Dareth, Neverlight,
I think it's DM Sword Coast.
TM Sword Coast. Maybe DM Maps. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm gonna go like that so that everybody else can see it. I'm also gonna zoom in a little bit so I can do some more precision work in terms of let me see here. Oh, there's one other little thing that I would very much like to point out while I'm doing this. If you guys have any, pointed questions about, oh, gee, it looks like X, Y, and Z thing is in a different location than I had sort of believed it was, please keep in mind that given the vast distances and the need for me to sort of make up what happens between point A and point B, that I actually really rather flubbed some of the travel times. Okay, so
Okay.
here I'm going to also start revealing some other places that you haven't been. Okay, Araj up here on the north. That is where you currently are. Way over here, that's Graven Hollow. This is Gauntlgrim. Miracles 2 covered those things. Aromakos.
We also traveled the path between Neverlight Grove and Blingdenstone, so
Yeah, and Blingdenstone? Blingdenstone.
yeah.
So, well, you would have traveled a very specific narrow path. So here's what I'll
Yeah.
do. I think I can go like this, and I'll just approximate the path. And then you also went from Gracklestug like that up to Neverlight Grove, and Sloopdop you
Yeah.
went across the lake, and Valve is where you were. Also, technically, you went from Gauntlgrim all the way over here to Mantle Dareth, like so. And
From there to Graven Hollow.
from there to Graven Hollow.
What all is Entomoc's boon anyway?
You found that in Blingdenstone. It's a sort of, I guess, hollowed space related to earth elementals. Additionally, oops, not that one.
Oh, is that with the menhirs?
Yes,
Okay, I didn't realize it would get its own spot on the map.
there we go. There's the worm writhings. Oops, fuck that up. And then here's the labyrinth. Aromakos is already revealed, but there's no need to go there. It was revealed for other reasons. Okay, so actually, apparently he doesn't really need to teleport you at all. I'm kind of glad that you guys asked me about the map. You can mostly step outside and just kind of walk for, I don't know, like a day, and you'll be there. Should be about right. 2 miles per hour times 24. Yeah, that's right. Hi, we have a map up. We're talking about
Where we've been?
where we've been, and I've revealed a bunch of stuff on the map and where we currently are. So Raj in the north is there. Menzo Berenzin is also located. Remember how I said that he created a passageway using stone shape between there and Menzo Berenzin? So like, it may be a
So
12. Huh?
the tower is in Araj?
The tower is a Raj.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yes.
Cool.
So, and actually, for that matter, even though you haven't been there yet, let me also just go like
Oh my
this.
god.
Yeah, I know, right?
We started in Velknavel?
Velkenvale,
Velkenvale. Jeez.
something like that. Yeah.
It's
Well,
kinda...
Oh, by the way, how do we contact him from a distance? Anybody have the sending spell?
Damn it, I just rearranged my spells.
no, but he is an archmage. You might be able to obtain the spell from him.
Would you be willing to teach me the sending spell?
He suddenly jumps for a moment. Oh, heavens. You are tiny, aren't you?
I don't think you trust the kobold.
You're a mage, little one.
Yep, I can already cast Force Wall.
Force wall. I remember when I first cast that. Separated out the gods into little tiny cells. He tenses his fingers and looks distant. Yes, yes, I would be willing to tutor you if you so saw fit.
Or I
Is-
could just exchange one of mine for sending. If that's easier. Is it easy to teach him?
Oh, it's merely a parlor trick. I think it's first level. I'm gonna check the spell list real quick just so I make sure I know.
I thought it was third, but
It
Sending.
is third.
Well, when you are an archmage, it is third. Yes. Yes. I believe. What's his name? What's his asshole name?
Tristan?
Nope, not Tristan. Grin! Grin! Fetch me a scroll of sending now! You hear someone pattering down the stairs. One set of stairs, two sets of stairs, and there's some ruffling noises, and it sounds like a royal racket, and then patter, 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 all the way back up the stairs. And then a scroll case is tossed up out of the stairwell and lands on a nearby table, knocking over a cup, which is fortunately empty. Excellent, Grin. Back to work with you. Take the scroll. It's yours.
Thank you. If I find anything that might interest you, I will bring it back.
Ah, shit. Wait. There you go. That way you don't have to find it.
ha ha ha.
Okay, so we covered all that stuff. So yes, you shall use sending if you need to contact me from a distance. However, between each item that you are obtaining for this construction, I very much must insist that you come back and deposit what you found. In the event that you should be defeated, we will not do to have all of the items in one place out of reach. After all, you do at some point have to collect blood or ichor from a demon lord, and I think you can imagine ways in which that might not go as planned.
I don't
Just
like
a
this
few.
guy.
Wait, so we have to go to the worm, the worm runs, get the thing, come back, then go back to the worm runs for the beholder?
No, I mean, you can grab both items at once. They're in the same relative area, but you should bring them back here before setting out to the labyrinth, which is a great deal further south from here.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Marvelous.
And I don't think I like this guy.
What? Why, Kyle?
My spidey sense is tingling.
Is that your Peter Tingle?
Good one.
I mean, we can always try. Well, no, you know what? I'm not pissing off an archmage. I'm not going to ask if he wants restoration cast on him.
Yeah, we don't have any other options, so.
I mean, in fairness, it's a spell that he couldn't cast on his own. Quick, everyone, hold him down and cast Greater Restoration.
Well, I guess we can always ask if he'd like.
Could we hold him down and make him drink the filter of love?
No, it has to be drunk willingly, Kyle. Consent
You
is
say
important.
You say that.
I do. It's actually literally written into the spell description.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can always trick him. Would you like a tasty beer?
What's your favorite drink, buddy?
Oh, incidentally, one last thing worth mentioning before I rocket us into the worm writhings. As you're talking to him, like you guys have been looking around, this room is filled to the brim with. Can you guys hear that?
What?
Then I'll take that as a note. I live next to a church, and its bells have been going off like crazy for about the past nearly 5 minutes. And it's
I mean, I heard a tiny bit in the background, but nothing
Yeah.
bad.
a giant pain in the ass. I can't help
Not
but hear
really.
it through noise canceling headphones and double pane glass. Anyways, lost my train of thought. Right. The other thing that I was going to mention is that he has notes all over the place on thoughts about his ritual, thoughts about where it needs to be located in Menzoberranzan, thoughts about um, just all the details of the ritual and what he needs to inscribe and where and what those things look like. And looking around, since you guys have access, there is a decent possibility that, if you are so inclined, you can read up on the ritual.
I would
May as well.
love to read up on the ritual.
Anybody that wants to read up on the ritual must make a Arcana check to do so. It is, of course, extremely complicated.
I'm going to use my portent of 18, so 18 plus 9 is a 27.
Tazrath
okay.
is going to fail.
Alrighty then.
Tazrath.
Okay. Give me a moment. There's a specific passage about this. Where's that section that I'm looking for? Under inhabitants now. Here, and then I just need. Okay. Alright, I'm glad I read this in advance. I'm just gonna have to go off of what I remember. It's in here somewhere. I'm just reading through a last little bit to make certain. Okay. Well, I can't find it, but I remember the answer. So you read through all of these ritual notes and so on and so forth, and you see how he has constructed specific geometric lines for magic to follow, and it all focuses on this incredibly powerful amulet that's going to be constructed. God bless you. And the thing about it is that he had told you it needed to be done in the place where the demon lords were summoned. There's absolutely nothing about this ritual that requires it be located in Menzoberranzan.
If his insanity is revenge on Menza Baranzan, I am all for that. No greater restoration needed.
Okay. Well, regardless, since you have a sufficient understanding of it, if you achieve greater levels of power with this character, there's a chance that by reaching the cap of this, you may actually be able to cast it yourself if anything should happen to Viserion.
I'd be more in favor of going back to Sloobladop and summoning everybody there for the battle royale.
Poor Sloopdledop.
It's already destroyed. It doesn't matter. And
But
and
there
at
are,
least this,
huh?
like, at least this way, there would be less potential damage to our friends in Blingdenstone from
Yeah,
everything.
that's true. I was just gonna say those poor fish people trying to pull their lives together after the horrific demonic summoning gone wrong, or right, I guess, depending on how you view it. Hmm.
They're
Well,
responsible for what's his name, aren't they?
Demogorgon, yes, but that's what you get for building your house on a floodplain. So, um, let's see here. So at this point, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna move everybody on into the worm writhings.
Righto.
Okay.
Joy.
Uh, you find. Wait a minute. Did they mention? I know they mentioned it in vague, but is there a description? Uh, right, that's the alternative way to get there. Da, 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 da. Okay. Viserion provides you with a map. Um, the map indicates where to find the Tower of Vengeance. And in the event that you get um, if you bring this map within 10 feet of the door, a soft purple light outlines um, the word Araj, which is the Drow word for vengeance. Across its surface in spidery script, touching the map to the door causes it to open for 1 minute, or until the map is more than 100 feet away from it. So that's how you'll return to the tower when you are done. He sends you back out, and there is a passage that leads to the secret door, and it's narrow enough that all of you need to move through it single file. Occasionally, you have to turn sideways to kind of squeeze and push your packs through ahead of you. It actually takes about an hour to navigate its pitch black darkness. Um, and the journey is filled with a constant echo of distant sounds. Um, then the passage widens a little bit, and there are bits of quartz and mica, and then a purplish light cuts the arc of a doorway out, and the stone seems to vanish in front of you, leading to a dry, dusty passage of the Underdark. From there, I'll just skip ahead a little bit. From there, it is actually very easy to find the beginnings of the worm writhings because it's really difficult to, not recognize the giant imprint of a purple worm having dug through. Um, as you enter those passages, one of the things that is um, almost hypnotic is that it's not just a perfectly round tunnel. Purple worms have spines, both along their top and along their side. And those spines cut grooves into the tunnel. So in a lot of ways, walking down it is sort of similar to walking down um, the barrel of a pistol with all those grooves spiraling in different directions. Except unlike the grooves of a pistol, these ones will twist and then suddenly turn back upon themselves and left and right and up and down. It's all very alien, as it were. As you are traveling through the tunnels, you guys have set out. You're a good 45 minutes into it, and there's a noise up ahead.
Ew. What sort of a noise?
I'm trying to pull actually it up. Come on, you asshole.
Keep firing, assholes.
What the fuck? Where did this? I'm sorry. Monster manual. Alphabetical. That's what I want. There it is. Finally. It sounds like a very flabby wing sort of flapping in the darkness. And you can hear something that sounds a little bit like flumph, flumph in the darkness.
Can
Now
we
it's
perception that?
you didn't need to actually. Fixer Upper was first to notice it because he has an exceedingly high perception to begin with.
Oh.
And then when he points it out, Tristan is able to sort of pin the sound out in the darkness up ahead. Now, this particular tunnel is curving very sharply to the left and down. So it's up ahead, and I bring this up in case you want to go into stealth mode or send somebody else forward to investigate or what.
Bat, I choose you.
Okay,
Don't forget to throw your Pokeball out.
so Bat flits off into the darkness, and as he's flittering about, he picks up this creature. Actually, not yet. He picks up a creature up ahead. The creature looks like a flat disc of flesh. There's a slit in the top of it that kind of opens and closes periodically. There are two eyes atop long stalks. They're about,
Is it a Flumph?
that would be player knowledge. Would you like to roll to identify?
Is that religion or arcana?
Arcana. Why, yes, it is a Flumph. You jerk.
Oh, poor thing.
So is it an onomatopoeia?
There you go. Yes, in fact.
Flumph.
Yes.
Does it say Flumph as it goes along?
No, it turns out that, actually, now that this has been identified, the mysterious flumps drift through the Underdark, propelled through the air by jets whose sound gives them their name. A flump glows faintly, reflecting its mood in its colors. Soft pink meaning it is amused, deep blue is sadness, green expresses curiosity, and crimson is anger. Flumps communicate telepathically. They resemble jellyfish, and flumps are sentient beings of great intelligence and wisdom, possessing advanced knowledge of religion, philosophy, mathematics, and countless other subjects. Flumps are sensitive to the emotional states of nearby creatures. If a creature's thoughts suggest goodness, a flump seeks that creature out. When facing a creature or creatures that exude evil, a flump flees. They feed by siphoning mental energy from psionic creatures. They can be found lurking near communities of mind flayers, aboleths, Githyanki, and Githzeri. As passive parasites, they only take the mental energy that they need, and most creatures feel no loss or discomfort from such feeding. Flunks live in a complex and organized groups called cloisters, within which each flump has a place and purpose. These harmonious groups have no need for leaders, since all flumps contribute in their own way. Flumps are also known to be extremely good creatures, which makes them rather unique throughout the rest of the Underdark.
Yeah.
Anyways, Bat has identified the Flumph up ahead of you. The Flumph doesn't really pick up on Bat because it is not truly a sentient creature in any regard. So it's sort of background noise that it might get from anywhere else in the Underdark.
Okay, so which ones of us are evil? That is
I'll
out loud
stand
to
in
the
the-
party.
I'll stand in the back.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay. Does anybody actually have an alignment on the axis of good?
No.
Not a single person in the entire party.
No.
All right.
Wow.
There we go. So how do you want to play this with the Flumph?
I mean, I'm in the back.
That's been established. Do you want to have one person go up and talk to it? Do you want to approach it as a group minus Chris?
I think one person at a time to not scare the poor little thing.
Oh, actually, this was a flaw in my own description. There's a small flock of 3 of these creatures.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's just go up as a group and say hello. And no evil thoughts, everyone. Think good, amazing things as much as humanly possible. Lie if you have to.
Good thing we're not human.
Fluffy, it's rainbows. I
Oh,
can't.
also, Alex, just so you're aware,
Uh-huh.
um, Kyle's newest ability is that his character can't be mind read. So just in case that affects
Yeah,
him.
and it's not a spell. It's like always there.
Wait,
It's part of his pact.
really?
Great old one. Yeah. Can't be mind
Uh,
read, and if someone attacks him with psychic damage, it is
Reflex.
resisted and then fires it back at the person.
what is it called?
I put it in the chat. It's Thought Shield.
Oh, thank you.
It's called Screw You Mind Flayers.
Yeah, bitches.
Oh, unless you allow it.
Ah.
Yeah,
But these aren't telepathic, right? They speak.
No, they're telepathic.
Oh.
In fact, yeah, it actually is incapable of speech. It has no vocal cords, but it speaks using telepathy.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, also, Kyle, do your best if it comes up to remember that you have resistance to psychic damage,
Yes, sir.
and that you reflect psychic damage. So just remind me that Thought Shield is a thing if psychic damage comes up.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so as you guys approach, the flumphs turn to face you, not like a sudden whirl or anything, but they just acknowledge that creatures are nearby, turn to face you. You're not sure what turning serves, as you can't truly identify a front from a side from a back, and given that the eye stalks can point in any direction, there you go. But the creatures kind of goggle their eyes at you for a moment, and that slit atop their head kind of opens and closes periodically, making whooshing noises. And the flumps seem cautious. Greetings, sentience.
Hi there, how are you today?
So far uneaten, and yourselves?
Also, so far uneaten. I like you.
I may form a fondness for you as well, small creature. Incidentally, flumps themselves are actually really rather small. They're a little bit larger than a fit. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Small means they're about the same size as a halfling. There you go. That's a pleasant image, right?
So, have you seen anything dangerous in these tunnels lately, or anything interesting in these tunnels?
Well, truthfully, we're mostly preoccupied by the evil machinations and thoughts of demon lords.
We're trying to get rid of those.
I wish you all the luck in the world. It is a far greater feat than we would ever be able to accomplish. However, yes, actually, there is some. There's a person who seems to have become separated from the rest of her kind. Uh, Flumph number one. What was it named again? Hane. Hane, yes, that's correct. Um, she's a resourceful little creature. She became separated from the rest of her party by a purple worm, and well, if you find her in the darkness, we would encourage you to help her. We think it might even be in your, and he sort of says this with disdain, best interests, if that's what motivates you.
Well, thank you very much. Is there anything we can do for you other than obviously not eating you, which we had no intention of doing anyway?
Watch out for the troglodytes and don't tell them that you saw us.
Wouldn't
Okay.
dream of it.
Farewell! Flump, 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 flump.
Okay, you're gonna have to do that every time now.
Well, maybe they'll have to make another appearance later as major storyline components. Welcome to Flumph City. Flump, 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 flump. Kyle's new dream is to find
I'm crying now.
Flumph headquarters.
It's so aggressive.
Flump, 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 flump.
Oh god.
So you set out into the darkness once more. The flumps sort of flutter off in another particular direction. Um,
Can I attempt to find this Hane with scrying?
oh, good question. What are the limitations on scrying? I'm sure you have it open.
You can see and hear a particular creature you choose that is on the same plane of existence. The target
Mhm.
must make a wisdom saving throw, which is
Mhm.
modified by how well you know the target and the sort of physical connection you have to it. If the target knows you're casting the spell, it can fail the save throw voluntarily if it wants to be observed.
Okay.
So they get a +5 to their save.
Okay.
And
Okay.
on a failed save, there's an invisible sensor within 10 feet of the target. You can see and hear through the sensor as if you were there. Moves with the target remaining 10 feet for the duration.
But we can't communicate with it, right? It's just us
Nope.
viewing.
Yeah, it's just viewing.
Okay.
Yes, you. When you said she gets a +5 to the save, is that based on the fact that you don't know her very well?
The fact that I only have secondhand knowledge of her, I've heard of the target. She gets a
Yes.
+5. If I
Okay.
had met her, it would be a plus. And
I
unfortunately, I don't have a likeness or picture, a possession or garment or body part, lock of hair or bit of nail or something to lower the.
right. Yes, you can attempt to scry for her. That meets all the requirements.
Then I shall do that.
Okay. Cast your spell. Oh, how do I handle that? Not sure. Well, I know what the numbers should be. Let's say. Okay. What's my DC?
Okay, this is unfortunately this has changed. So let me check real fast.
Sure.
Okay, that's lying to me. How does it's 8 plus your proficiency plus your modifier, right?
It should be.
And proficiency at level 10 is +4.
That part I couldn't be certain of without looking the information up. Classes, fighter.
Oh yeah, fire's +4.
All classes have the same proficiency bonus progression.
Okay, so it's 8 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1, so 18.
Okay. 19.
Drat.
You reach out with your scrying, attempting to locate the target. You find that it is very difficult to get a fix on the target intended. You sense a lot of darkness. You also hear the sounds of hissing and clattering as well. And that's about it.
Oh
They
well, I
mentioned
tried.
a they mentioned a number of troglodytes. Do troglodytes really hiss?
Well, they are lizard people, so
Oh,
yeah.
that'll do it.
hmm as you finish casting the spell, there is a very abrupt rumbling to the point where you're all sort of jittered up and down on the cave floor. A purple worm bursts through the cave in front of you, and it is intersecting the path that you would be traveling along. Um, it continues traveling and traveling and traveling, its entire bulk going the distance. And you're frozen because being that close to the creature, any excessive movement or noise on your part could cause it to change trajectory and loop back around. It takes a solid 18 minutes for the creature to pass. I actually calculated it prior to this. So, yeah, full 18 minutes for the entire thing to go by. And as it does, you can see the end of it behind, where it has a slightly curved, very wicked talon that is probably about the size of a couch that you have at your place, whatever place you have. Um, and it descends off into the distance, and very shortly after it leaves that space behind it, the rumbling stops entirely. So there's now a downward slanting exit and an upward slanting exit in the tunnel that you're in. Now the tunnel continues on ahead of you. Nothing collapsed or anything, but yeah. So if you want to hunt that purple worm down, be my guest.
Nope, I think we should keep going away from here.
So be it. Um,
We've,
so,
so we've got two other paths, forward and down.
yes, forward was the way that you were going. Down is a recently made path,
And I
which
feel like anything that's down is probably in his stomach at this point.
could well be. Um, so as you continue through, um, a foul stench and a cacophony of faint hissing voices rises from ahead. The tunnel plunges sharply downward into a vast open cavern dimly lit by luminous fungi and bisected by an underground stream. Tall reptilian humanoids stand on either side of the stream, waving makeshift weapons and howling threats at each other in a hissing language. The group of creatures closest to you seems to have a captive lashed between two stalagmites atop a low rise in the cavern floor. That floor is some 20 feet below you, down a steep but navigable tunnel whose walls are piled high with rubble. The creatures are preoccupied with their conflict and haven't noticed you yet.
I'm going to immediately activate my new ability, the third eye, so I can understand until I take a long rest every language in front of me.
Oh.
What are they saying? Oh wait, no, it's reading. God damn it! I wish this was more like tongues.
Well, doesn't somebody else have the ability to understand?
No, mine's read all language too.
Oh.
I thought you
Oh.
had. I thought you had like some sort of telepathy, though.
Yeah, only with one creature though.
Right, and it wouldn't allow him to understand spoken languages going on about him.
Oh wait, comprehend language does it?
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm totally casting that.
I would like to remind everyone who casts a spell, which is everyone, the casting of a spell is not a quiet or subtle process. It may actually draw the attention of troglodytes nearby to you.
Oh, fine.
You can certainly choose to cast it regardless, and I can roll some stuff and see what happens.
Can we block the view of our friend casting?
I think it's the
Ooh.
sound.
Ooh, what if we cast darkness?
Well,
No,
there's
I get the sound.
and ironically, if you cast silence, then he can't cast the spell.
True.
We can just watch this unfold.
Well, actually,
No.
that is kind of a question. At the moment, there's clearly some disagreement. They're upset about something. Dollars to donuts, it has something to do with the individual slung up between two stalagmites. But exactly what's going on here is kind of in question. So, additionally, while everybody is engaged in this, they're all very much fixated on that particular hill and on the individuals involved. And there are also spaces off to, excuse me, off to the west where you could potentially creep along the cavern wall and maybe bypass all of this disagreement entirely. There's a fair number of troglodytes here. So they may not be in other sections of this pretty damn large cavern. Jesus, give me a second. I have
Hey,
a map. Go on.
Kyle, you said you could speak with one person, right? You should speak with the tied up person and ask them what the fuck is going on, or connect to one of the troglodytes to figure out what the fuck is going on. It might only be one person, but at least it's more information than we have now.
Sure.
I'm using Armor of Agathis on myself, by the way.
Isn't that an ability?
No,
It's a
it's a
spell? So you're going to cast a spell.
Yeah, wouldn't we just talk about?
God damn it. Okay, never mind.
Okay, as for the creature on the thingy, give me just a second. I have to locate that individual's nonsense. 3.
I also have to be within 30 feet to communicate.
Okay, I have a little map here. Let me start counting out. Assuming that you're about here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. You're 1,000 feet from the target.
Perhaps I could go over there, distract them.
Oh my god. Hold on a second. There's a map for
Or
this?
actually, how many are there? If there's like 200 of them, I'm not doing that.
Good question. Give me a second.
199 then. You're fine with?
Okay. So get ready. Here is the fucking map.
All right.
Get ready.
Oh, wait a minute. Shit. I should probably mask this. There we go. Nobody saw anything.
Nope, wouldn't say it if I did.
You're quite sure of that, aren't you?
I am indeed. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna guess about to here, over to say here, and then to there, and that's gonna take like, there we go, a million years, and then like that, and then what I'm gonna do is push that into the background, close that, close the Flumph, close that,
Oh,
that,
bye, Flum.
that. Don't worry, I
Flump,
can bring
flump.
that image up anytime you need to.
It's the sound effects we want.
Flump, flump, flump. Close that, close that. I'm almost there. That, and now I'm gonna approximate. I'm gonna put you guys in the general area that you're at. This has nothing to do with your marching order. I'm just trying to get you on the board.
Mm.
Bob. And then you there. So that's the party. Arrange yourselves however you feel comfortable. I'm going to create a line. Oh, yeah, I was just about to create a line like this. You must be behind that line.
Oops.
That would be in front
Sorry.
of it.
That was me.
There we go. Yeah, there you go. So if you stay behind that line, then that should supposedly be keep you out of sight. Yes. Also, because of these, and I'm just gonna move Tristan just for illustrative purposes, you can also occupy this square. So, right. As for this person, I may actually need to look something up real quick.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. They have their own language. That's good to know. So nobody is likely to speak that.
Troglodytean.
Yes, the troglodyte language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so you want to contact her with telepathy. Oh wait, you have to be within 30 feet. I don't have to worry about that.
Mhm.
Oh, incidentally, just to give you guys a sense, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little square. Here's a 5-foot square. Right there is about where the person that's hung up by you know, the stalagmites is located.
And they are a knoll as well, or troglodyte?
They're troglodyte. And additionally, within about this space right here is one troglodyte force. And then
Jesus.
something like that. Maybe a teeny bit large, but mostly confined to this hill. There we go. That's a little better. And then I just change There we go. Yeah, about like that. Uh, there's another grouping of troglodytes before you. Um, and so, uh, yeah, yeah. Now here's the other thing. Um, the particular passage that you took into the worm writhings has been pretty straightforward so far. You encountered the flumphs, you encountered the purple worm. So there weren't really any other bisecting passages or anything else. It's just been a straight shot that has happened to dump you out into here. So you have something of a problem because it's like, if you turn around, you go all the way back to the origin point where you
Mm-hmm.
started. And then you would have to find another passage into the worm writhings in order to try to continue forward, which could be a significant detour, but it's an option if you feel that it's necessary. As for the sheer numbers of troglodytes, um, in the space on the cave floor, as opposed to that hill that I have highlighted with the 5 foot square, there is a one troglodyte that is very big, very strong, and actually, there's no reason I can't show you a picture of these bastards. Uh, Alphabetical index. Here we go. And then this is what a troglodyte looks like. There's a particularly large muscular version of this creature, and it is leading a force of, you count them up, 22 additional troglodytes arrayed in a rough battle line along the south bank of that freshwater stream that you can see. And then atop the hill, there are a separate force of 5 troglodytes that are very well armed, and the creature attached to the stalagmites, which is also a troglodyte.
Does it look like they're trying to sacrifice the troglodyte, or what's going on with that?
Um, it's a little hard to tell what they're thinking because these are, lizard people are not something that you encounter every day, and the lizard people on the surface tend to have a very different way of thinking from other mammals. But if you were to guess, the way that this creature is displayed up there, there is another troglodyte behind it. It has this is going to be a silly question, so forgive me for asking, but it is related. Um, if anyone has played Civilization, especially one of the more recent ones, there were some Aztec warriors that put shards of obsidian into blades made of wood.
Right.
Those things are one of those creatures has a similar construct of a sword, and is threatening to slice up the creature that is hung up between the two stalagmites. The creature, of course, that is hung up is quite distressed by this, as is the 23 some odd troglodytes down on the cave floor.
Okay, so it looks like the one tied up is about to be harmed by the smaller group, and
Yeah,
the larger group does not like this.
right. And the neither does the creature that's going to be harmed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that goes
Goes,
without saying.
yeah, hopefully. I just want to make sure that you guys don't feel like, oh, this is a collaborator or whatever. Trying to accurately represent the situation. So that's what's going on, and yeah, you basically have a choice. Do you want to try to sneak around? Here, let me try a pointer. You guys want to try to sneak around in that direction? It's a lot less likely that you're probably going to be able to sneak around in that direction. But those are kind of your other things. And then, of course, there's also the option that Will mentioned, which is just to sort of let this play out and see what happens and see if that makes it any easier to pass through the area.
Or we could just show up and shout and have all eyes on us.
Sure,
No.
but you would also then not be able to understand what they say to you.
I mean, at this actually, can I run back far enough away, then cast comprehend language, then run back?
You can do that, but the situation is very very quickly coming to a head. So while that is an option, it may end up bringing you back, and it might be the same sort of thing as having waited.
Oh boo.
Because
Hmm. I can also just gather their attention at us and then figure out what's going on, and then we can decide from there.
yeah, that's also an option. Chris was a proponent of that one. So what do you want to do?
What's everyone else think? I suggest we have the voting.
Oh, yes.
We're
I will.
actually in a defensible spot right here, so
That's true.
Okay, so Check is going to be in favor of the plan to shout and draw the attention of 28 some odd troglodytes, minus the one that's strung up. X is going to be a vote in favor of let this whole thing play out and deal with whatever remains.
if we do that, my method of gathering attention is going to be casting Armor of Agathis on myself.
While the rest of us just don't have shit.
Well, fine. If you want me to cast Aid on everybody first instead, I can do that.
Actually, for that matter, if Chris is going to make the way that attention is drawn to you guys to cast a spell, there's no reason other spellcasters can't simultaneously cast.
Right. Okay.
So basically, you can all cast one spell preparatory.
Comprehend language.
Oh, I can cast the Guardian spell.
I was gonna
in
say,
case-
does any spell pretty much guarantee that we'll be noticed?
Well, if you cast Daylight, that would do it.
No. I mean, like, if Tristan does cast comprehend languages, will they definitely notice us? Possibly.
It's fairly likely because the only reason they haven't really noticed you so far is just the fact that they're not really looking in your direction.
Right.
Yeah.
And comprehend doesn't give you the ability to speak to them, does it?
Nope.
No, but you would be able to understand what they say. So from there, you're going to have to do something pretty creative to, keep them from murdering you.
Yeah.
Really
we-
creative, like shooting a fireball at them.
I mean, speaking of ways to get noticed, that's a pretty good one.
Hey, it thins the herd.
By the survivors, I mean.
I don't know. Can we
Mhm.
handle 28 of them, though?
Probably.
They're lizards or something. We
How
can handle
tough could they be?
I mean, clearly I was outvoted, so.
Also, I should point out that I am now aware that it is 9/11, so perhaps this is best resolved next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for playing, everybody, and